Welcome back to Coins and Cash with Brittany. Today I'm going to go over 10 different $50 bills that I think you should keep your eye out for. Up first, we have a 1985 Federal Reserve note from New York. This is graded by PMG A67 EPQ. This is a very well margined note and is only 3 points away from being a perfectly printed and cut banknote. And there isn't anything that's too crazy going on about this note except for the fact that it did receive such a high grade, and for that reason it sold for $129 on June 13th of this year. Our second note of the day is a 2001 Federal Reserve note from Dallas, graded by PMG A64 EPQ. And taking a look at the serial number, we have a fancy radar serial number. Now, I've gone over this a couple times in previous videos, but just in case you're new here, a radar serial number means that the serial number can be read left to right and right to left and be the exact same. Due to the fancy serial number and the grade it received, it sold for $264 on May 9th of this year. Moving right along, we have a beautiful 2004A Federal Reserve note from New York. This is graded by PMG A67 EPQ. Taking a look at the serial number, it is a replacement note. And if you know how to identify a replacement note, please leave a comment down below. I'll give you a second. And how to identify a replacement note is by looking at the suffix of the serial number. That means the end of the serial number. And if you have a star, that means your note is a replacement note. And what's interesting about this note is that there are not very many survivors from this very limited print run of 64,000 pieces that would possess the color and originality that this note does. So due to the rarity and the high grade it received, this note sold for $780 on December 20th of 2022. Our fourth note of the day is a 1985 Federal Reserve note from New York, graded by PMG A64 EPQ. You might be wondering to yourself, well, Brittany, why can't I see the front of the note, but the label looks like it's backwards? And that's because the back of the bill is missing the print, and the grading companies like to put the error facing forward. Fun fact, the back of the bill is actually the first step in the printing process. So this entire sheet completely missed the printing process. And this type of error occurs when a step in the process is completely missed and no ink was ever applied. So when it comes to error notes, the more severe an error is, the higher the premium is going to be. And for this reason, this note sold for $900 on June 6th of this year. Halfway through our notes, we have a 2009 Federal Reserve note from New York, graded by PMG A58 EPQ. This is a sheet of 16, and this is a well-margined example of a modern high denomination uncut sheet and has sustained light handling, which is why this sheet received the choice about uncirculated grade. And these types of sheets can actually be purchased directly from the BEP. However, they do sell out quickly because they do have a limited run. Right now there are none available, but the price point to purchase one today is $920. So based on the grade that this note received, this note sold for $1,260 on July 4th of this year. Moving along, we have a 1934 Federal Reserve note from Dallas, graded by PMG A66 EPQ, and this note is a light green seal. For this particular series, these notes can be deemed either dark green seal or light green seal, and light green seals will always bring a higher premium than dark green seals. Typically, you can take a look at the serial number and determine whether it is a light green seal or dark green seal. However, sometimes it does take looking up the serial number range in order to definitively determine the variety. And if you are a paper money collector, a great book that I think you should invest in is called The Standard Guide to Small Size U.S. Paper Money, 1928 to date. This book is a collaboration with John Schwartz and Scott Lindquist. Now, I am not sponsored by any means for this book, but it is a really great guide, especially if you're a small size collector. And this specific note is tied with just one other note as the finest graded by PMG PMG and neither have appeared in public sale, according to Track and Price. And to give you an idea, Heritage sold a PMG Gem 65 EPQ note for $1,320, and being one grade higher brought this note to $1,920 on May 5th of this year. Up next, we have a 1977 Federal Reserve note from Boston, graded by PCGS Banknote, a Choice XF 45. This is also a details grade due to a small repaired edge tear, and there's a couple things going on with this note. The first being that it is a replacement note, which is identified by the star being at the suffix of the serial number. In addition to it being a replacement note, it is also an error note, specifically a mismatched prefixed error. Taking a look at the left district seal, that shows an A, and for these types of notes, the prefix or the beginning of the serial number will have that same letter. So the left serial number has an A, but if we take a look at the right serial number, it is a K. A K is for the Dallas district. Because these two do not match up, we in fact have a mismatched prefix error. And Heritage originally offered this example of a very rare mismatched prefix letters error in the 2003 Central States auction. It is one of just two that they have ever been able to offer, the last being in 2013. So this type of error does not come to auction very often. Due to the fact that it's a replacement note, the type of error that it is, and the grade it received, this note sold for $2,400 on January 13th of this year. Our third to last note of the day is a 1929 Federal Reserve Bank note of New York, graded by PMG, a 35 EPQ, and this serial number as well is a replacement note, in addition to being an obstructed printing error. So if you take a look at the right serial number, you can see just a portion of the star, and this kind of error happens when something gets in the way of the printing plate or obstructs the printing plates and is not able to get the ink onto the note. And this is the first time that Heritage has ever offered an obstructed printing error on a 1929 Federal Reserve Bank note. And as I mentioned earlier, the more severe an error is, the higher the premium is going to be for it. This obstruction prevented about 99% of the right serial number. Even though this note is in lower condition, it still has the EPQ designation. It is still original, it just has some folding and some handling. It's a replacement note in addition to being an obstructed printing error, and for those reasons alone, this note sold for $2,880 on October 6th of 2022. Our second to last note of the day, you may have never seen this note type, is a 1914 Federal Reserve note from Richmond, graded by PMG, a 30 EPQ, and this is a much older note, and many collectors and dealers like to call these types of notes the horse blanket, as these are much larger than the standard currency size that we're used to today. I'm not going to spend too much time on this note, however, I do find this note to be very beautiful with the bright red ink and the design on the back. This note type can come as a blue seal and red seal variety, with the red seal variety being more rare and more highly desired. And there are currently 23 notes in the Track and Price census for this Friedberg number, and this example has only one graded finer in the PMG population report. And this note brought $6,000 on January 13th of this year. Our last and final note is a 2004 Federal Reserve note from Dallas, graded by PMG, a 66 EPQ. This note was printed in the Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas location. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, we're looking at the front of the bill and the back of the label. However, when we flip it over, we have an overprint on back error. This type of error seldomly occurs on $50 denominations. And this type of error occurs when the sheet is inserted upside down, so the back is faced towards the overprint equipment, resulting in the wrong side of the note having the overprint. And this is truly just a beautiful note with the vibrant colors. It's very well margined, and this note brought $6,721.20 on May 6th of this year. And if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.